evening, I'll be presenting under the section Physical Planning, Land Use, Building Standards, Disaster Preparedness and Planning. I'm sure a lot of you know exactly what Town and Country does, but I'll just give you a little synopsis as to the main activities of the Tobago Regional Office. Regional officers are responsible for development control under Chapter 3501 of the laws of Trinidad and Tobago, with development planning taking place at the Development Planning Unit in Head Office, Port of Spain. Development control matters includes decisions on all building applications, subdivision of land, stamp duty exemptions, classification of land, liquor licenses, and general request for information. Enforcement matters commence at the regional office with a letter of advice being sent to the offender, after which the matter is passed on to the enforcement unit lawyers to start the legal process. I was asked to focus on the clean aspect and how it relates to my particular corner of development. According to the CEDP, a clean Tobago is based on good environmental health, accountability and transparency, and inclusive development. Good environmental health is impacted by many factors, the scale and type of development being one of them. Being able to successfully regulate development can ensure good environmental health. Without accountability and transparency, development can take place guided by ambiguous policies and standards that are open to many interpretations. This leaves room for corruption and inconsistencies in development practices. By including all actors and users in the development sector, from the policymakers to the illegal vendor on the streets of Scarborough, everyone can start to appreciate why the policies are enforced in the first place. If they are left out, then we must be prepared to face opposition due to ignorance. They won't understand why and to what benefit to society these measures are necessary. This picture depicts unsanitary and unclean environment that can result from unregulated and unauthorized development. This is a slum in Nairobi. It is hard to imagine that at one point this was a vacant piece of land that was left unregulated. Now, this side is a slum in India. Notice the stagnant drainage and food laid out next to them. This type of development would discourage tourism and economic growth. It would strain the social services, especially healthcare, as new diseases are born in environments such as these. And this is an extreme case which actually looks a lot better than the favelas of Rio, to be honest. But the point is, each of these cases began with a small, unregulated settlement that was once ignored. Dealing with buildings, land, and lawbreakers as soon as the infringement occurs can help prevent such unsightly and unhealthy environments. On the other end of the spectrum, we have places like this. Would it not be amazing for a slum dweller to imagine to wake up to glorious sunshine and fresh air in an environment such as this? This type of environment is indeed desired by all. I'd like to share a personal experience with you. I was part of a diplomatic team that attended an economic development management seminar for 3 weeks in Beijing, China last April. Part of that trip included a visit to the Tianjin Eco Zone, a smart city created on the outskirts of Beijing. As you can see, massive amounts of green space, planned and regulated development, which is evident in the patterns seen, and generally a healthy environment. We all want to live in a place so healthy, but it doesn't come without regulated development and strict enforcement. These are some of my pictures of Tianjin: wonderful, spacious, open pedestrian spaces, renewable energy initiatives, a gorgeous skyline which will attract locals and foreigners alike. And there's a shot of my team observing the digital walkthrough of the city. Good environmental health is greatly impacted by development control. If not managed effectively, then informal and damaging development practices can have detrimental impact on the success of the CEDP initiatives. And those are just some of the impacts that we could experience. Transparency and accountability are critical for the efficient functioning of a modern economy and for fostering social well-being. In most societies, many powers are delegated to public authorities. Some assurance must then be provided to the delegators, that is, the society at large, that this transfer of power is not only effective, but also not abused. Transparency ensures that information is available that can be used to measure the authority's performance and to guard against any possible misuse of powers. In that sense, transparency serves to achieve accountability, which means that authorities can be held responsible for their actions. Without transparency and accountability, trust will be lacking between a government and those whom it governs. The result will be social instability and an environment that is less than conducive to economic growth. So what is the relation to our current system here in Tobago? Planning decisions in development control are guided by land use policy, which is formulated by spatial planners to guide development control planners such as myself. There is also ministerial or political involvement in many of the policy decisions. Therefore, policy making needs to be transparent to ensure accountability. On page 34 of the implementation plan of the CEDP, it states that there is a need for a conscious people, knowledgeable and mobilized, to participate in Tobago's development and in sync with the ideals expressed under the clean, green, safe and serene Tobago brand. For people to be knowledgeable and mobilized to participate in development, the process must first be transparent enough for them to give their trust, their time and their energy to a cause where they know they will be taken seriously. I'm just going to skip a few pages here because I just got my notice. Right. I used a document called SPEED, Scottish Planning, Effective Engagement and Delivery in my thesis. My thesis was called Public Engagement in Development Plan Making, Glasgow City Council Case Study. And the document was used to measure the level of public participation in their live plan-making exercise and place it along the famous Einstein's ladder of participation shown in the slide. I found that 3/4 of the time development plans take so long because of public misunderstanding and mistrust. In Glasgow, however, they reached the level of delegated power, where community groups weren't just informants about plans, but they were actually given tasks to go away and consult their communities. No one knows the place better than the people who have been living there for generations. Tobago's community groups are very strong, with year-round activities from harvest to heritage to reinforce its solidarity. Therefore, giving these groups a degree of delegated power can then make them conscious, knowledgeable, and mobilized, as per the aims of the CEDP. The results, policies, will be understood and accepted by all. There will be less objections, less need for enforcement measures, and less strain from the plans that they help make. In conclusion, achieving a clean, green, safe, and serene Tobago by 2017 requires the holistic approach. Development is everything around us. We live it and breathe it every day. It is therefore crucial to achieving a clean Tobago, as uncontrolled development is both unsightly and unsanitary. Accountability and transparency are important factors to deal with when creating policy, which will affect the lives of everyone. When people are part of the very first stages, they are more likely to adhere to the guidelines and understand why a certain decision is made. Thank you very much. 15 minutes goes very fast when you're up here, boy.